Welcome to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. Grab your favorite mug, sit back, and enjoy. Now here's your host, Caryn Fitzgerald.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. I'm your host, Caryn Fitzgerald, and today we are having an episode of Coffee and Book Chat. And my guest is author Roger Laidig, and we are talking about his book. And the title of his book is Finding Purpose and Joy. It's a Journey. Good morning, Roger.
Good morning, Caryn.
I love the title of your book.
Good.
It just absolutely makes me smile. I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about you, and we're going to jump right in. Roger, you are in northern Indiana, if I understand correctly.
Yep.
A native, graduated from Purdue University with a degree in engineering and a master's from Indiana University in South Bend. Retired from your 30-year career at Laidig, Inc., a global manufacturing and construction company, as Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing, and currently embarking on a part-time position as an adjunct professor with an emphasis in leadership at Purdue School of Technology in South Bend, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And on a personal level, you are a committed follower of Christ, and your personal conviction is that every person is worth understanding. Your desire to create trust by interacting, listening, and sharing lessons that life has taught you. And you do this by meeting regularly with groups and individuals, groups of men. And this all resulted in you developing Finding Purpose and Joy, the life mentoring programs, which you do via phone and Skype. And you have a lovely wife and 2 grown sons, 2 daughter-in-laws, and 4 terrific little ones call you Grandpa.
That's right.
I love it. And your smiling face, I will tell you, folks, if you haven't been to the website and checked out Roger's smiling face, you're missing out because he is just smiling away and you can feel the energy coming through. Roger, I am so grateful to you for being here and for sharing. Let's jump right in. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, throughout life, like all of us do, I face different forms of adversity. Some were a result of my choices and some were out of my control. The ones that were a result of my choices really affected my relationships in a negative way. When I began realizing that blaming others never solved problems, my greatest lessons came from learning that my attitude and actions were the only thing that were in my control. When I started taking responsibility for them, things began changing for the better. Most importantly, each adversity has, and still is, helping me to grow as a person and in my faith. The seed for this was really planted in me after my heart attack about 15 years ago. Over the years, several people that were facing adversity in their relationships have asked me to mentor them. And then some began suggesting that I ought to write a book. Until recently, I wasn't feeling called to write it. That changed several months ago when my wife really encouraged me to do so. That was like a sign from above as it signaled that we are both on the same page and in harmony. So that's really kind of what led up to writing the book.
You know, I believe firmly that all of us receive messages, and they're from, wherever you want to say. I mean, some people it's religious power, some people it's the universe, and I just believe firmly that these messages come to us for a purpose and not because of anything other than we're supposed to share. That's really the main thing. We are meant to share. We wouldn't be given these ideas if we weren't meant to do something with them. And timing is everything. So it sounds like you and your wife got on the right page at the right time, and it's very powerful. You said something there, and I just want to take a step back. You said something about not blaming others and taking responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really powerful. Can you expand a little bit on what that means for you and how you share that lesson with others?
Yeah. That's really an important one, so I'm glad you asked that question. You know, when you have a disagreement with someone else, now let's take my wife, for instance, when we were really, we were never going to get divorced because we didn't believe in it, but we were virtually divorced but living under the same roof. We got to the point where we could hardly talk to each other.
Mm.
And she would say things like, "You never listen." And I would say, "Are you kidding?" No, she didn't say that. She said, "You never talk." And I said, "You got to be kidding. Listen to me. I'm talking. This is talking." And so kind of that went on, and I kept thinking it was her, that she just didn't get it. But you know, we got to a point, and I said to her, "I think we need to go to a counselor." And she didn't want to do that. And I said, "Well, I need to go then because we can't continue the way we are." So I went to a counselor, and the counselor listened to my story. And I was a Sunday school teacher and an elder, and he said, "Roger, obviously you're right. Susan must be wrong." So he wanted to invite her in, and he did, and told her that she really needed to change, that she needed to submit to me. And that worked for about 2 weeks. And then it got steadily worse. And I literally, Caryn, I was on my face just begging God, show me what to do here, because I have no clue. And I ended up going to a different counselor. Again, Susan really wasn't of a state of mind to want to do that at that point. But I went, and this counselor was different. He said, he listened to my story, and then he said, I'd like to listen to your wife as well. And after he listened to my wife, he called me, and we had another appointment. And he said, "Roger, do you realize that Susan has feelings and has an opinion? And you're really not giving her the respect of having either one of those." And it was like earth-shattering to me. That's the last thing I wanted to do, but I'm a type A personality. As I was younger, I always thought I was right about everything. The older I get, the more I realize I don't know. And that continues to go every day. But it was a wonderful experience. At the time, it was really tough because he virtually taught me a new language. And I had to learn to speak differently. He suggested that when Susan says something, rather than just responding her and telling her what to do or telling what I thought, he said, "Why don't you just paraphrase what she says, and then she can say, 'Yeah, that's what I'm thinking,' or 'No, I'm not thinking that. This is what I'm really thinking.'" And that started putting me on a whole new journey of empathic listening, where to listen to understand, to make sure that I really understood what Susan was wanting to communicate. And in the process of doing that, I started realizing, hey, this is me. This is not Susan. And I can point my finger all I want, and maybe there are some things that she could change, but I can't control that. All I can control is my own actions and attitude. And it was and still is life-changing, that it's so easy to blame others, but it never solves any problems. All it does is exacerbate them and make them worse. And by learning that, when we can learn to take responsibility for what's in our control, we can't change another person or circumstance, but we might be able to influence it. And if we want to influence in a positive way, it starts with good listening and hearing and caring. So that's really what I mean by taking responsibility and not seeing myself as a victim.
And I think that's something we can all learn from. It's a very simple and very powerful message in the same voice. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more coffee and book chat, talking with Roger Laidig about his book. And we'll be right back after these messages.
Stay tuned. Coffee and Coaching with Caryn will be back after these messages.
Need a little more happiness in your life? Here you go. The Happiness Recipe Podcast to the rescue. Listen each week as June Klein and Sandy Weaver Carmen share wit, wisdom, and wonderful food with their guests. Guaranteed to add happiness to your life. happinessrecipe.net.
Yo, attention authors, share your work on Coffee and Book Chat. Book reviews, author interviews, blog posts all about you and your book. Visit coffeeandcoachingradio.com for details today.
Are you looking for quality entertainment and activities for the entire family? Then come on down to the Plaza Theater Company and Plaza Academy Dance Studio, located in Cleburne, Texas. The Plaza Theater Company is an award-winning community theater that presents 10 productions a year, performing every single weekend. If you have a child that enjoys acting, dancing, or singing, then you can enroll them in the Plaza Academy Dance Studio. For more information, visit plaza-theater.com or call 817-202-0600.
Welcome to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. Grab your favorite mug, sit back, and enjoy. Now here's your host, Caryn Fitzgerald.
We are back with Coffee and Coaching with Caryn, and today is a book chat episode. We are talking with author Roger Laidig, and we are talking about his book, Finding Purpose and Joy, It's a Journey. And Roger, before the break, we were talking about taking responsibility and not blaming others. What are some of the main things that you hope people will learn and take away from your book?
Well, these things, Caryn, are, I think, the reason I think it can reach a wide range of people is not because of me or what I think, but there are certain things in humanity, the way we're designed, that we all have similar principles that will either stimulate us or take us down a negative path. And so with that in mind, I guess the first one is today is not our destination, but it's just one point in our journey. And so many times people may be caught in a place and think, oh, this is terrible. Life is never going to get better. And if you go with that thought, life probably never will be better. But on the other hand, if you realize this is just one point in the journey, I can do something about it. This is the first day of the rest of my life. I can look at the past as something to learn from, but I shouldn't dwell there. But I should evaluate it, see what's gone wrong and what I'd like to do differently. And that really leads to the second thing that a lot of us kind of know, but we don't really understand the significance of it. And that's that the way we're created, we all have the ability to make choices. And every day we have hundreds of choices that we can determine one way or another way. But if we take a look at our journey, where we're at today, and start thinking where we want to go 20 years from now, or maybe 10, 20, 40 years from now, how do we want our marriage to look? How do we want our life to look? How do we want our well-being to be? If we can get a clear picture of that gives us a good point of reference on the choices we make. So pretty much every choice we make will either take us closer to who we want to become or farther away. And if we can realize that, it starts helping us make choices and determining our priorities. And when we have that, we can make choices that will help determine what our future will be, instead of just being victim of whatever happens.
That is extremely powerful and so dead on. In our world, we're so, I guess you could say, taught, or it's our defaults, where people just assume and act as if everything happening in their world and their life is an outside influence doing its job, when the reality is personal responsibility, our own thoughts, our own actions, and being intentional is all that's really required to make those shifts so that our life is so much more powerful, and it's what we want it to be versus all these outside influences that we just default to. Roger, I love that you have a program that focuses on helping people. Can you tell us a little bit about your program, Finding Purpose and Joy, the life mentoring programs that came out of this whole process? Can you share a little bit about what you do and how that works?
I sure can. It really started right in our local area, where people that were going through struggles, I had shared my story with them, and it put them in a comfortable place where they realized I wasn't sitting on a pedestal, but that I had personally experienced some of the things that they're experiencing. And they began openly sharing with me, and it developed into my meeting with couples, or meeting with people one-on-one, or leading small groups of men that maybe are going through some relationship challenges, or just some difficulties in life, and want to find a better way to live. And through that, I got to realize that maybe there are people around the country that aren't right here in the northern Indiana area where we can meet face to face, that could benefit from some sort of a way to communicate and touch base. So I developed some mentoring programs online, and we do that via phone or via Skype, whatever the person is most comfortable with. It provides a venue then for them to be able to be mentored, rather than I guess some people have a stigma against going to a counselor or a psychologist or something like that. And I'm neither. I'm a person just like they are, that cares a lot about other human beings. And God's given me the ability to experience and study and learn things that just maybe could cause them to think about things they hadn't thought about before, and know that they're not alone. And I do this on one-on-one sessions, or couples, or even small groups of men. We set up times and do it via phone.
Well, I think most importantly, or actually not most importantly, but in addition to the different things you were sharing, one of the key comments that I want to just toss in there is the fact that you are somebody who has been through these challenges. So not being a counselor or a therapist, that's kind of an aside, where you're somebody who's been there, done that, and has successfully come out on the other side, so you can share your experiences and your guidance from somebody who's gone through the same thing as the people you're working with. And I think that's really an important thing for your potential clients and potential people who will be part of your mentoring program to really understand. That's a powerful place to come from, because there's nothing worse than talking with somebody and asking them for help when they haven't experienced what you're going through.
Exactly. Yep.
And you're so empathetic because of that. So not only is it your spirit that comes through, but your true desire to help people, because you know the discomfort that they're in. And that's just so, I've got goosebumps.
Well, you said earlier in the program that things happen for a purpose, and there's a reason for things, and we get nudges from different places, whether it's from the universe or from God, maybe via other people, and that's really what's prompted this. Is I do have empathy for other people, because I think that the universe wants us to enjoy this life. And I'm a believer that if you believe in heaven, I believe that it starts right here on earth. It doesn't have to start when we die. So why not start understanding and making choices that lead us on that journey?
I wholeheartedly agree. And ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with Roger Laidig. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back with more coffee and book chat after these messages.
Stay tuned. Coffee and Coaching with Caryn will be back after these messages.
Need a little more happiness in your life? Here you go. The Happiness Recipe Podcast to the rescue. Listen each week as June Klein and Sandy Weaver Carmen share wit, wisdom, and wonderful food with their guests. Guaranteed to add happiness to your life. happinessrecipe.net.
Yo, attention authors, share your work on Coffee and Book Chat. Book reviews, author interviews, blog posts all about you and your book. Visit coffeeandcoachingradio.com for details today.
Are you looking for quality entertainment and activities for the entire family? Then come on down to the Plaza Theater Company and Plaza Academy Dance Studio, located in Cleburne, Texas. The Plaza Theater Company is an award-winning community theater that presents 10 productions a year, performing every single weekend. If you have a child that enjoys acting, dancing, or singing, then you can enroll them in the Plaza Academy Dance Studio. For more information, visit plaza-theater.com or call 817-202-0600.
Welcome to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. Grab your favorite mug, sit back, and enjoy. Now here's your host, Caryn Fitzgerald.
We are back with Coffee and Coaching with Caryn, and today is a special book chat episode. We are talking with author Roger Laidig, and we're talking about his book, Finding Purpose and Joy. It's a Journey. And Roger has been sharing with us a lot of things that allow for finding purpose and joy, and powerful information that is actually very simplistic. However, it comes down to that personal responsibility of taking the actions. So, Roger, let's talk a little bit about the book itself.
Okay.
Is this what one would call a spiritual book, or what would this fall into? What category?
Well, that's really a good question, too. It could fall into a couple different categories. It could be self-help. It could be positive reinforcement. But in reference to the question about being spiritual, this is my belief. We all have a spirit. We may not all have the same belief about religion, but we all have a spirit. And we were all created, and we're part of the universe. Although I'm a Christ follower, this book does not promote Christianity as a religion. Rather, it focuses on developing a Christ-like lifestyle. And that's a lifestyle that promotes love and joy, peace, patience, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, self-control. You know, and when you look at it that way, and not as a religion, it's about how we live, how we treat each other. Do we respect each other? Can we forgive one another? Can we develop trust? These are all virtues that generally are a higher call for all human beings to live with less stress and anxiety. And so is it a spiritual book? To that end, it is. Is it a religious book? I would say no, it's not.
Well, I believe those attributes and those traits are all ones that we all must focus on, because it makes us a better person and it makes our communities and our world a better place. So those attributes are 100% so vital and valuable and key and critical in our lives. What has been the response of family and friends? I mean, you've written this book. You came out of a different industry, the manufacturing and construction industry. So what's been the response that you've gotten at the Roger Laidig author?
Well, that's pretty interesting. I guess I'll start with my family and close friends. I have a wife and two sons, and they have fully endorsed it, and I can actually see them each living out these attributes as well. And I can see their lives being taking paths toward where they want to end up down the road. Other people that have read it have said it's very uplifting, it's relevant, life-changing. I couldn't put the book down. It gives me so much hope for the future. And several people said, I wish I could have read this book 20 years ago. So it's, on Amazon, it's been given a 5-star rating by everybody that's reviewed the book. So it seems to have been well received. That said, I'm hearing for the people that like it. I don't know what people might be saying that don't like it.
Well, the people that like it are the ones that are most important,
Yeah.
because that means they're reading it.
Yeah.
And has there been anybody surprising or special, or any kind of response or review that came to you that just you went, wow, I was taken aback by that in a good way? Anything like that happen?
Yes. There's actually story after story that they've humbled me, because it's exactly what I had hoped, the fruit that I had hoped for the book. One was from the chairman of the board of a major global corporation that gave it 5 stars and said it's just so on track. It goes to a young man that in his 20s who was trying to sort out his career, and his fiance broke off their relationship right before the wedding. He was devastated, and he's coming out the end very positive. And then there's people in between that it's just affected in a positive way, where it's given them hope, where in the past they didn't think there was any reason for hope.
Wow. That's hope is the word. And when people have hope, they continue to move forward. So that is just a powerful gift that you are giving to so many others. Roger, if you could say one thing to the world, what would it be? What's your message?
Well, it's kind of a repeat of one thing that I said a little earlier, but I think it's really relevant, and that's that just realize that you're on a journey, and the people around you are on a journey. We tend to judge people and think, boy, they're really messed up or something like that, and people may look at us and say, boy, we're really messed up. But the truth is, we're just on a journey, and it's not where we're at today is not a destination. And we ought to have more forgiveness and grace on ourselves as well as on others. There's hope for the future with God's help, or with the help of the universe. At the same time, our choices will determine, to a large part, our future. And we're put on this earth, and I think you agree with this, Caryn, that we're all put on the earth for a real purpose. And as we discover that, that's where real joy comes. It's when we really sense, I understand why I'm here now, and I'm living for reasons that are far beyond me.
I do agree with you. I believe we are all here for a purpose, and when we find that purpose, the joy is just overwhelming, and it's such a peaceful, fun place to be. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Roger Laidig this morning, the author of Finding Purpose and Joy. Roger, I would love for you to share how people can connect with you directly.
Well, I've tried to make it as simple as possible, and the best way to do it is just go to my website, www.findingpurposeandjoy.com, and on the website you can find more information about the book, how to buy it, more details about it, also information about my mentoring programs, and also I do a blog that. But you can find all that at my website, www.findingpurposeandjoy.com.
That's wonderful. I'm excited. We'll have that posted. And Roger, is there anything that we didn't touch on this morning that you'd like to share?
No, I don't. But Caryn, I really want to thank you for having this venue available and for inviting me to be on your show. But also, I really sense that you're doing a great service for the listeners of this. Actually, I think you're living out what I would hope the purpose of my book is, and that's to help others find purpose and joy.
Well, thank you. It is my absolute pleasure. I enjoy what I do. And just like you said, find the purpose and the joy. It's all one big package. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You have been listening to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn. This has been a special book chat episode, and we have been talking with Roger Laidig. He is the author of Finding Purpose and Joy. It's a Journey. Be sure to pick up a copy of his book.
You've been listening to Coffee and Coaching with Caryn.
Thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next time for more Coffee and Coaching with Caryn.
Until then, visit us at coffeeandcoachingradio.com.
Caryn Fitzgerald is an author, speaker, business strategist, and leadership coach. Connect with her at coffeeandcoachingradio.com.